What is up, everyone, and welcome to the 25th Ward, The Silver Case, the direct sequel to The Silver Case. Disclaimer up front, for those of you who didn't check out my playthrough of Flower, Sun, and Rain, I have played the first few hours of the 25th Ward because I had started playing it before I had been recommended to play Flower, Sun, and Rain. So I will have a little bit of knowledge, but also it's been 6.5 months since I recorded that. So that's why I'm starting from scratch again. I figure it's been 6 months. While I remember a few things, I feel like a lot of it's still kind of not really fresh in my mind. So I'd rather not just be thrown into the middle of the story where I was and just rather take it from the top. So, you know, these first couple of videos won't be entirely, blind reaction to everything, but, the majority of it should be. That's why there's also a continue option here on the screen here. Can you use arrow keys? I can't use arrow keys. That's another thing I remember is, like, you don't want to use the mouse in this game. The mouse is, like, real finicky in this game. Or, no, it was in the first game you couldn't use the mouse, as far as I remember. But then, yeah, I think the mouse is very finicky in this game. But yes, this is the follow-up to the Silver Case. There's no quick way to recap the Silver Case. The Silver Case was a fucking wild ride, and then when you add Flower, Sun, and Rain into the mix, it's not something I could quickly recap to give people an idea of where we are, right? Either you know what's going on or you don't, and even if you played those games, you still might not even know what's going on. But yeah, we're gonna jump into it, and we'll see where it takes us. We have correctness. Can I select any of the other ones yet? I don't think I can. So correctness is number 00. Oh, wait, what the fuck? Oh no, those are just popping up regardless. I thought I had pressed something that caused one of those images to pop up. I'm like, wait, hold up. What the hell did I just do? Yeah. Jump into it. Prototype. The past is not dead. 30 years have passed since the government's Special Administrative Region 24 Wards project to curb urban overcrowding. And the sun was beginning to set on the economic rebirth at the hands of the chosen people. The people yearned to entrust their own lives to a fully ordered and regulated society, and saw a perfect utopia in the 24 wards. Humans lose the will to resist, and the power of criminality increases and spreads like a virus. 24 wards had two sides. One, a perfect utopia, and the other, a society of crime. The Kanto 25th Ward was an accelerated perfect utopia, an upgraded version of the 24 wards, with all of the structural faults of the original test sample resolved. A new structure of local government was introduced, and with it was born an environmentally hygienic region, grounded in a non-communalistic society. And now, the distortion progresses. Prototype. That's the thing, I'm just sitting here trying to remember, like... Even though, like I said, I've played through this before, I still don't remember exactly how these things start out. I remember how Morishima's section starts out. That one I remember fairly well. Correctness, I believe, is the one white-haired cop. Oh yeah, and then the third one. I won't talk about the third one just yet because it's kind of spoilery. But I do remember the third protagonist, which is interesting. I don't remember exactly when we get there. But we're going to get right to the point. I won't be taking questions. Listen carefully. There's been a string of suspicious deaths discovered here at Bayside Towerland, the symbol of the 25th Ward. In the 4 months since the condos were made available for purchase, 9 people have died here. All of them have been ruled suicides. We haven't been able to get any further information. It'll be hard to get a foot in the door, even going through the Metropolitan Police Department. Someone or something has been exerting their power to block these incidents off. Unfortunately, we were able to obtain some info through a certain route. A body was discovered on the 75th floor this morning. So far, nobody apart from the person providing this information has been made aware. This is where we'll need you. Infiltrate the scene and find out what's going on. An investigator from HQ is using another route to get in. Make contact with them. After that, I'll submit a formal inquest and get started on the official investigation. I'll be presiding over and leading the investigation. I'm putting you in charge of the field. Maybe we do start out, because one of these protagonists is, like, technically, I was gonna say voiceless. Technically, they're all voiceless, right? There's no voice acting. But I think we start out as the protagonist that just, like, doesn't speak. All the other protagonists, like, because, you know, in the silver case, like, whenever the protagonist would speak, unless you were playing as Morishima, but when you were playing as the other protagonist, whenever he would speak, it just, you would never know he was speaking, right? There was no indication, there was no, like this, with the little head bubble, the little portrait image and text box, none of that. You never knew if the protagonist was actually speaking. Sometimes it felt like he was never speaking, right? They said he gave off the strong silent type, right? So I think our first protagonist is very much that. The other two actually have, like, portraits, they're actual characters, they actually have dialogue and whatnot. I think our first guy is the third one that I'll try to avoid spoilery details on. Seeing this town brings back some bad memories. What will you do? Oh yeah, now we have the fucking... I will say, I hate these fucking menus. I do. It gets so much worse. Like this just your simple, like, what is this, a 4-sided die? This menu's easy. The one thing I remember that fucking irritates me so much is when you have to input text of any kind. It's not your standard keyboard, it's not just a standard, like, ABC display. It's all on this big fucking sphere that you have to rotate around to get your goddamn numbers and letters. It's so fucking irritating. I'm getting angry just remembering it. I hate it. That's one aspect I'm not looking forward to, is the goddamn numbers and letters input. Yo, if it would just let me type it in for my keyboard here, that'd be great. But no, I have to rotate a sphere around to find the right fucking letter I'm looking for. Anyway, we can move, we can look, we can talk. So let's have a chat. Zyra's apartment complex is up against the threat of administrative crime. There have been a number of suicides in which the cause of death is unknown, and they've been covered up. It's proof that someone powerful is involved, reining in reporters and keeping the media under their thumb. This is the sort of case that would absolutely be shut down if standard investigative procedures were followed. We're going up against a huge opponent. Let's see. Let's have a look-see. I'll fill you in on the basics of investigation. The eyeball icon is used to look or act in regard to the space in front of you. The person icon lets you talk. The arrow icon allows you to move. The bag icon represents items. Don't forget this. Thanks. I couldn't figure that out on my own. Suppose we'll move then. We're not finished yet. But fucking... what else? It's an independent governing body under the authority of the citizens, completely free from federal interference. The success of the 24 wards accelerated the progress of the 25th ward proposal. It's supposed to be some sort of utopian paradise, populated by around 300,000 people. People's belief in peace is unwavering. Can I move now? We're not finished yet. God damn it. I'll have the Ministry of International Trade and Industry get the Metropolitan Police Department to follow up on this case. Doesn't feel like it's a person we're after. What is this presence I sense working behind the scenes? Beginning again, isn't it? God fucking damn it. Just let me move. What now? The Ministry of International, yes. So what, you wanna have a chat? Register yourself as an administrator and begin infiltration. We've acquired a fake ID for you, so there's no need to worry about that being made. Use it wisely and sparingly. Okay. ID card and password. Consider this your first mission as a 25th Ward HC Unit Special Investigator. Check out the room on the 75th floor. Can I move now? Be careful. Thank God. The entrance hall. Welcome back, sir. What will you do? I believe I'll present my ID card. Checking. Your identification has been confirmed. My apologies. Please proceed. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll just be on my way. Welcome back. I suppose I'll talk to you. Allow me to show you to the residential floor. Please let me know if I can be of service. This is a top-level high-rise condominium, featuring excellent sanitation and administration. Life here is better than reality. Okay. I say up. Can't get a move on? Alright, look. We have a total of 32 elevators for all 8 areas, as well as 8 private elevators. Okay, can I move yet? No. Yes, you have a shitload of elevators. Isn't that great? Do you want to talk? Sir will be boarding from elevator 7. Please proceed to the 75th floor of the area marked 7. Thank you. Elevator 7, please. Thank you. Please enter the number of your desired floor. See, I wanted to type in 7. So much easier. Floor 7. Yes. Next stop, 75th floor. No, wait. Hold up. Hold up. I don't remember. What are you doing here? Hello, ma'am. I don't know what I'm doing here. They didn't tell me which room it was. Oh, right, Sakura. Totally forgotten about you. An errand for Michiru. I was a bit surprised that that wasn't what I had heard. Whatever. Whatever facts you may see from here on out, please be sure to wipe them from your consciousness. We still need time before we can begin the investigation. Check everything out and be sure not to leave any evidence. Okay. Something bothering you? Yeah, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. No one told me anything. Do I keep looking? No? Do I keep talking? You remind me of him. Sorry, just talking to myself. Did I said anything? You can enter the room with your ID password. It's room 75028. Oh, thanks. Make sure you get the right room. We don't want to disturb the neighbors. Gotcha. Let's go. 75028. Let's down this hallway. 1819. 2021. 28. 28. Number 28. Almost there. Uno más. 28. Use the old ID password, 803026. Do I have to type that in? I do. Okay. 803026. In. A-O-3-O-2-6. Yay. Password confirmed. Oh. Someone had a messy spaghetti dinner. The murder occurred in this room. Feels too cold and sterile for someone to live in. Don't you think? I don't know. Fuck do I know? Can't look. Okay, I guess we'll talk. Let's start investigating. We don't have much time. Okay, can I look now? Ah, women. This is your first case. Your main priority is not to apprehend the criminal. Your mission is to kill crime itself. Apparently, you can see crime in everyday life. Michiro sent you into the field believing that this case would help awaken you. But I can't go back just yet. When I go back, it'll be when I've killed you. Or when you've killed me. Using criminal power to control the crime-controlled 25th Ward. It's a dangerous gamble, Michiro. The poison is too strong. Kamui will kill the life. That's the end of prototype. So, yeah, it'll get discussed more so as the time go on, but yes. Punk rock. This new protagonist is a Kamui, but it's not our previous protagonist. Because that was Sakura, who we would have recognized from before, because she was someone who assisted the previous protagonist. So this is a different Kamui, but they're still a Kamui. Now, I don't know all the details behind it. Like I said, I only played the first few hours of the game. I definitely did not finish it, so I don't know all their circumstances, but we are dealing with yet another Kamui. Oh, did I only play for 3 hours? Shit, that's all? Yeah, see? Like I said, I didn't get that far into it. But yeah, new save data. Also, no, that doesn't tell me when I played it. No, it says I played for about 3 hours. Cool. Well, yeah, now it says I've played for... What the hell? So the last save, it says I only played for 3 hours, but somehow now it's up to 6? Somehow I started playing it today and... Oh, wait, no. Here we go. Oh, I'm stupid. I played it for 6 hours. This was the last save there. And then saved out of 3 is the most recent one. Okay. I was going to say, how did it magically jump up to 6? No. I've played 17 minutes of this first one. Alright, gotcha. So yeah, now we can access all 3 protagonists. Placebo, which is of course our man Morishima. And then Matchmaker, which is the white-haired cop guy. He's some kind of cop. But anyway, of course we're gonna go check out Morishima's. It's it. In March of 1979, an incident which would come to be known as the Silver Case occurred. The suspect's name was Kamayu Ohara. Kamayu Ohara was apprehended by a man named Tetsugoro Kasabi, a 24-year-old fledgling detective at the time. Little is known about Kamayu Ohara, such as what sort of person he was, etc. However, there are several facts that have been passed down over the years, almost like an urban legend. The fact that Kamayu Ohara committed his crimes in midwinter. The fact that he used some sort of special customized harpoon gun. The fact that he killed suspects and material witnesses in cases of crimes and human-caused disasters who couldn't be tried in court under existing laws. The fact that he possessed the rarely witnessed attribute known as criminal power. It is unknown whether Kamayu Ohara kills because he is contracted by someone or because he wants to kill. It was assumed that the various mysteries surrounding this man would be solved in the interrogation after his arrest or during the ensuing court case. However, 5 years after his arrest, in August of 1984, Kamayu Ohara was diagnosed with severe psychosis and his criminal trial was cancelled. In September of the same year, it was decided that preferential measures would be implemented, and he was admitted to the Kanto 24th Ward IMM Hospital Psychiatric Ward. To this day, it is unknown whether anyone has heard the man known as Kamayu Ohara speak words with any sort of meaning since the time of his arrest. Information concerning the Silver Case is even less abundant. While the name of the case is famous, almost no actual details of the incident are known. Those who are especially informed, or the type that is especially into conspiracy theories and the like, may have heard tell of the following details of the case. At the end of the 70s, after having been dissolved and split up following a long struggle for power, the remaining hardliners of the FSO Frontier Conservative faction hired a hitman as their last resort. One day, the TRO, Techno faction, and CCO, Civic faction, that is, the two parties making up the current government, and also the factions responsible for driving off the FSO, held a meeting of 10 old men. These men were the respective parties' most important members. It was there that a man appeared. After using a special customized harpoon gun to kill every member of the meeting, the man was arrested. His name was Kamayu Ohara. With all of the victims being old men, this incident came to be known as the Silver Case. Of course, no matter where nor how deeply one may search, no public records of this incident exist anywhere. The next time the man supposedly undergoing treatment showed his face to the world, it was March of 1999. The woman in charge of Kamayu Ohara's counseling at IMM Hospital at the time was killed, and Kamayu Ohara subsequently disappeared from the hospital. As he continued to evade apprehension, the violent crimes piled up. 2 female civilians were killed with the harpoon gun. Additionally, 2 agents of the Special Forces Unit, Republic, were also killed while attempting to apprehend Kamayu Ohara. Daigo Natsume, their acting leader of said unit, sustained critical injuries. As the murderer of Lore reappeared in the real world and started killing once again, people began to tremble in fear, and some began to worship him. At this time, the internet had not yet become widespread and was still no more than an underground toy, but possibly, due to its close relationship with Kamayu Ohara, it served to accelerate his deification and helped him to permeate society even deeper than the mass media could. Additionally, The specific environment of the government special administrative region known officially as the 24th Ward, which was set up as an experimental area, was similar to the net. The common points between these two entities was the fact that, while comfortable and convenient, it was a constantly constantly monitored and closed-off world which gave its denizens the feeling that they were being deprived of something. Metropolitan Police Department 24 Ward's Heinous Crimes Unit christened the series of incidents occurring in March of 1999 with the name the Kamui Case. Heinous Crimes Unit 2 was home to Tetsugoro Kisabi. However, it was later revealed that Kamui Ohara, who had supposedly escaped from the hospital, was actually catatonic and almost totally vegetative state. He was unable to do anything apart from eating and sleeping, let alone fatally wound anyone. The actual perpetrator of these serial killings was Ayame Shimahira, a woman with a special relationship with Kamui. The term criminal power may as well have been created by Kamui himself. Criminal power is said to be contagious. This is apparently especially true in the 24th Ward. Maybe Kamui Ohara's criminal power found its way into Ayame Shimahira and caused her to act as his copycat. That may be the case, and it may not be. Ayame Shimahira was apprehended and taken into custody by Heinous Crimes Unit 2 Special Agent Sumio Kodai. It was 1999, and winter was closing in. True criminal power was about to show its fangs. Kamui Ohara suddenly escaped from the hospital and managed to make a comeback that nobody expected. After a month-long silence, Kamui murdered 7 important government officials in the A1 district at the center of the 24th Ward. Then he disappeared. The situation grew stranger still. On November 30th, Kamui Ohara died abruptly. With reports that a man thought to be Kamui Ohara had infiltrated the International Environment Building, a special team put together specifically for the elimination of Kamui Ohara enacted measures to capture him and force the suspect to the roof of the building. Upon receiving the signal, sharpshooters placed in the surrounding buildings took aim and fired upon their mark, all at once. The target was eliminated immediately. The body was destroyed to the point of showing no resemblance to its original form, so badly that it was impossible to tell whether or not it really was the man who was arrested 20 years prior. Data pertaining to the DNA of this Kamui Ohara has never been released. Everything written up to this point covers the surface and the background of this case. The background of the background, as well as the even deeper layers, are so complicated and incoherent as to be almost nonsensical. True. The origin of the whole story goes back 20 years prior to 1999. That is to say, to the time when the silver case occurred. Someone, or some group of organizations, used the budget set aside for the newly built International Environment Ministry building to begin the directly controlled project known as the Shelter Kids Policy. The goal of the project was to develop an educational system appropriate for the high-level administrative metropolitan environment that was the 24th Ward. Over 1,000 4-year-old boys were gathered in the shelter compound where they ate, slept, and were put through a specific curriculum created to shape their personalities into certain patterns. The main point of the program was to insert artificial processes into the development of the ego and sense of self of the subjects while they were still young in order to force their respective personalities and thought processes to conform to a specific mold. The children were subjected to endless cycles of the same, simple, repetitive tasks, which gradually cut away at their egos. The personality set as the base for that which was planted in the minds of the Shelter Kids originated in Kamui Ohara. In essence, the Shelter Kids policy was fundamentally an experiment for the purpose of creating mental clones of Kamui Ohara. Due to this, the project was called Kamui Maspro meaning mass production. Also, some referred to the original Kamui as Format Kamui, with format referring to the fact that this Kamui was basically the mold from which all future Kamuis would be created. Why was Kamui Ohara selected as the original format? There are several theories to explain this. One of these theories is that Kamui Ohara was like a machine, unaffected by emotion, cold and robotic, and therefore able to carry out his assigned duties efficiently and without question. Therefore, as long as his criminal power was somehow removed, he would make a perfect mold for the people set to inhabit the strictly controlled and administered society of the 24th Ward. However, criminal power is like a type of mental energy and is extremely difficult to control or subdue. Some scholars reject the idea of its very existence, but making direct contact with Kamui Ohara makes it clear that he does indeed possess some sort of power. Mentioned above, criminal power is contagious. People who make direct contact with Kamui Ohara are stimulated by a sort of shock, experience a kind of emotional reaction, and can feel compulsions and urges rising up inside themselves. Some people call criminal power a virus. This project, in its poorly executed attempt to analyze and copy Kamui Ohara, may have touched on something with which it should not have made contact. However, gathering the testimonies of people deeply involved in the project, it seemed like that may have been the actual goal of the project from the beginning. It could be said that the Kamui Maspro project was meant for the research and development of criminal power itself. Once again, the loop of doubt begins anew. What exactly was Kamui Ohara? A certain notebook contains information on this. The notebook contains writings pertaining to the origins of Format Kamui and something known as the Kamui system. Those not familiar with Kamui would think of it as a bunch of occult nonsense. This is the underside of the whole story. It could even be called something of a fairy tale. Kamui Ohara was born on a certain island, and at the age of 2 had the eyeball of a non-primate quadrupedal animal transplanted into his left eye as part of an ancient ritual of the indigenous tribe of that island. Okay. Now see, I'm pretty sure that's something that's a reference you wouldn't understand if you hadn't played Flower, Sun, and Rain. At least I don't think so. Well, maybe. They did say that they had... The part about an island, I don't think you would have known about. I think they did talk about, like, replacing their eyes with hyena eyes in the first game. But the fact that this was done on an island as part of, like, an ancient ritual, that's shit you would have learned about through Flower, Sun, and Rain. The transplanted left eye turned silver. The changing of the color to silver was supposedly a sign that the progress of the program of death inside the bearer had temporarily stopped. The silver eye steals the crucial function of death from the living. That is to say, it makes the bearer essentially immortal. Additionally, this renders the existence known as Kamui a metaphysical being. It makes it possible to transmit or transplant the being known as Kamui to another person if there is someone to receive it. It would be possible to transplant Kamui if one were able to find a naturally born blood relative of Kamui's, or someone from the same clan, or at least someone with a similar personality. However, if there were man-made mental clones of Kamui, then this process would go even more smoothly, or at least the scientists behind the Kamui Maspro project believe so. Kamui dies, and if the next physical body to host the transplant is found, then the next Kamui is born. According to old lore, within the potential Kamui stock, there exists the one charged with protecting the next Kamui. There are also others to whom other duties are assigned. This is the general outline of the Kamui system. The most crucial point to those who are aware of these secrets is the fact that it is possible for a normal person to take the silver eye and make it their own. By replacing their own eye with the silver one, it is possible for a person to gain the power of immortality. This is true even for those who were not originally shelter kids. It's possible as long as the Kamui system continues to work. This is where a certain man who wanted the silver eye for himself had an idea. He could simply cultivate the field known as the Kamui system. If criminal power could be controlled, then the shelter kids would become easily controllable citizens. If necessary, this criminal power could be awakened, providing excellent soldiers in times of need. Then the eyes of animals would be transplanted into the subjects, and if one of them turned silver, it could be taken. The silver eye could also be sold. The Kamui Maspro project began with various speculations getting mixed up and confused, but the reason for the Shelter Kids policy was able to receive such huge amounts of funding was because of the fact that if the mechanism causing this rare and powerful ocular transition could be explained and harnessed, there were clearly huge profits to be made. The funding was essentially investment money for creating a production facility for silver eyes. It is said that the main investor was the TRO, Technofaction. The TRO was originally centered on resource development based on molecular biology, technology, and its applications. However, the Kamui Maspro project was not able to achieve the desired results so easily. 4 years after the Kamui Maspro project, under direction from an organization that can be traced back to the FSO Frontier Conservative faction, the IMA Maspro project began, based on the previous project. It seemed like simply a new project with only the gender switched, but this experiment placed the utmost importance on creating an even more robotic and machine-like soldier. There were also those who felt that a sort of counter-existence to Kamui was necessary. The original persona used as the mold for format Kamui was used once again. In the end, it is said that neither the Kamui Mass Pro or IMA Mass Pro project was able to recreate the occurrence of the Silver Eye. However, there were 272 subjects who were able to reach the step just prior to this recreation. After that, the Shelter Kids policy, which had continued for 8 years, was suddenly put to a stop. Both of the projects, as well as their administrative entities, were disbanded and dismantled. What happened to the Shelter Kids? Kamui stock comprised of 1,440 people, and the IMA stock comprised the same number of children as well. These boys and girls were basically tossed out into the 24th ward. Some of them spent their lives as ordinary ward residents, being woven into the Kamui system while waiting for their time to come. This means that the field known as the Kamui system, while incomplete, did indeed continue to exist. On the other hand, some of the subjects were thrown out of the system altogether. These were the ones who were not considered good enough or useful enough for Kamui stock. There have also been rumors that still more of the Shelter Kids were more than simple mental clones of Kamui. Some are said to have been actual blood relatives to the original format Kamui himself. Let's bring the topic back to 1999. The Kamui incident reawakened the past of the Silver Case, causing a large number of people to die. And this is a fact that must not be forgotten. Kaiji Enzawa, dead. Shinji Kotobuki, dead. Yoshi Morikawa, dead. Chizura Hachiska, dead. Morishika Nakatagawa, dead. Ryu Munakata, dead. Presumed dead. On the other hand, there are some who survived. Ayame Shimohira, alive. Sumio Kodai, alive. Tetsugoro Kusabi, alive. Sakura Natsume, alive. However, there's no guarantee that this list is completely accurate. Yeah, completely accurate. Some of those thought to be dead may still be alive, and the opposite is also possible. One thing that needs to be said in closing is that sometimes miscalculations happen. So, I know that Munakata guy is still alive. They believe he's dead, but I'm pretty sure he's still alive. If Flower, Sun, and Rain is anything to go off of, Sumio and Kasabi should both still be alive. Now, we did meet a Sakura during the prototype mission, but honestly, that doesn't mean shit in the long run. We also don't know what IMA's current whereabouts are either. So I could see either of them being switched up. Well, that's the thing. Sakura was part of the IMA Mass Pro project. That's something we later found out. Obviously IMA was part of the IMA Mass Pro, but Sakura was also part of the IMA Mass Pro. So if if there's some way that someone's taken the other's place, I wouldn't be, I'd believe it. This is especially true with conspiracies and works of sinister design. This is because the sun is always watching from above. One such miscalculation was the decision to produce IMA along with Kamui. Maybe nobody stopped to think about what the opposition, the struggle for supremacy, and the cross-fertilization between Kamui and IMA would bring. While the original intent was to create a man-made mass production factory for humans, they may have simply been creating a nest for Kamui himself, like worker bees. Furthermore, what about the rejected Kamui clones? With regard to possible meanings and purposes for their very existence, sadly, nothing comes to mind. Let's now delve further into the underside of the background of the whole story. The theory that Kamui Ohara never even existed in the first place. Or rather, he did indeed exist, but not as a hitman. They said that he existed only as an ordinary ward resident. This theory appears to be true. If so, then several prerequisite conditions are rendered nil, but the true villain of the other story, of the other Silver Case, would be Kaora Hachiska. That's right, your father. If I just leave you with this little thought, I'm sure you'll come to remember all sorts of pertinent information. Well then, From here on, I'm going to use hypnotic suggestion to seal off all of these records and memories. Once you find the mobile phone number hidden inside the turtle and open your mail, this memo should reach your phone after a few hours. A crow is none the whiter for washing. This is an old expression that means that something naturally black will always be black. Cannot change the true essence of a thing. At least, I hope so. That I can continue to be me for as long as I am around. Wow, I forgot that whole recap is just a message that he sent himself. Yeah, so that whole chapter, it's just a recap. So, you know, if you are new to the 25th Ward universe, there you go. There's your that's the short recap. That's why I didn't try to give a recap at the beginning of this recording, because that is the short version of it all. That is the short story. That is the condensed version all wrapped up in a neat little bow. Alright, so now that we got our 0 cases out of the way, of course I'm going to continue down Morishima Story Road. Nagare. October 2nd, 9:09 p.m. at the pier. Disposition is a difficult thing. For example, even if you became unclear as to who exactly you were, something automatically makes you move. It's not only the reactions that happen inside your own body, but even your external surroundings undergo faint chemical reactions. And it all gets jumbled together to create your current situation. Words like fate are a bit of an exaggeration. It's something more sensitive, more ordinary. But like the iron shackles chained to a prisoner's ankles, it's also something extremely cold and inflexible. That is to say, you're connected to them,